Hello, and welcome to Skunkworks 2025. Our team's goal was to help improve the Salesforce developer experience. And we'll talk a little bit about the current state, how we've improved it, and what we see as next steps. The team here was John Ong, Austin Collins, myself, Eric Blush, as well as Nick Andrew. And I'll turn it over to John to talk a little bit about the current state.
So currently, Salesforce development boils down to these steps. Firstly, code in the Salesforce sandbox is pulled into a local IDE. I use VS Code with a bunch of extensions on it. Changes are then made in that IDE, which is then pushed directly back into the sandbox. To get the changes in the sandbox to production, it does something called, it's basically something called a change set, which is basically overriding the production code with the code in the Salesforce sandbox. And then lastly, once that is done, the changes has been made to production, only then do we reflect those changes in the revenue ops repository in GitHub.
One of our main goals for this project was to figure out how we can simplify this development experience. So we decided to use GitHub Actions to handle a lot of these deployment steps to automate the process of uploading changes from our revenue ops repository to Salesforce. So I'll give a quick demo to show how that's working. If we open revenue ops code and just make a change to any file, I'll just add a comment up here really quick. Save that and push. Now we can go over to GitHub and we'll show that as soon as we push up any changes to a feature branch, it will automatically kick off a Salesforce deploy to their sandbox environment. We have a specific one set up for Skunkworks right now. So we'll go through a number of steps here, install certain things that are required, and then it will authenticate and start the deploy to Salesforce. So it goes through a couple different steps here, runs a number of tests. I will pause and we'll come back when this is done. Okay, looks like that just finished. So I will hop over to the dev console here and we'll refresh. And you can see that that has shown up in the developer console there. This is in the Salesforce sandbox. This is just what's currently running in Salesforce. So now we can go back to our pull request here and do whatever code review, whatever you want here. And once it's ready, merge it. And merging this will trigger a deploy to the production version of Salesforce. So if we go over to the GitHub Actions, we should see a new GitHub action run starting here. This workflow will go through almost the exact same process as deploying to the sandbox. This time it'll deploy to production. GitHub Actions are super customizable. You can set them up to run on button click or on events like we have right now. And you can have them run certain test cases and all kinds of stuff. So there's lots of customization we can do to set this up to run for our version of Salesforce.
Well, thanks for that demo, Austin. Now, this project was a really good proof of concept for how we could improve the developer experience and make sure that we're using GitHub appropriately and using this action to make sure that we're syncing the changes across different environments. There are some steps that would need to be taken to make this production ready, but we've also identified some tools that may be able to help us with this as we go forward here too, namely Capado and Gearset. So a couple of things that we might want to think about if we want to take this further, or alternatively, we could take this project and make it production ready. Anyway, thanks for coming to our Skunkworks talk. Have a great day.